The screen flickers to life, and there I am, silver hair pulled back, eyes red from tears I haven't let fall yet. My voice cracks as I lean closer to the camera. He stood in my kitchen, the one I scrubbed on my knees for 30 years, and laughed. How does it feel to be useless, Mom? My own boy, the one I carried through fevers and bankruptcies. I smiled, poured him coffee, and said nothing. But that night, I opened the safe behind the old flour tin. Inside, the deed to everything he thought was his, and I whispered to the empty room, "Watch me, son. Watch me burn it all down, quietly, fade to black. You'll thank me for the chills. Keep watching. You won't blink." I still remember the way the winter light slanted through the lace curtains that morning, thin and pale, like it was afraid to touch the floorboards I'd waxed 1,000 times. My name is Eleanor, Ellie to the grandchildren who used to climb my lap begging for oatmeal cookies. 68 years old now, hands knotted like the roots of the apple tree I planted the day Tommy was born. The house smelled of cinnamon and bleach. I'd been up since 4, folding his laundry because Sarah, his wife, said the dryer at their new place was temperamental. I hummed an old hymn under my breath, the one my own mother sang while ironing Daddy's shirts. The tune kept me steady. Tommy burst in without knocking, boots dripping slush across my clean tiles. "Mom, we're late for the lawyer." No hello, no kiss on the cheek like when he was small and scraped his knee racing bikes down Maple Street. Just that tight smile, the one that didn't reach his eyes anymore. I set the last pair of his socks, darned at the heel because Sarah hated spending on new ones, into the basket. "Coffee's fresh," I offered. He waved it away. "We don't have time." "Sign the papers, Mom. It's just transferring the house into our names for tax reasons." "You'll still live here, promise, promise." That word used to mean bedtime stories and pinky swears. Now it tasted like the metallic tang of blood when I bit my tongue. Let me take you back, dear listener, because pain doesn't arrive in one cruel sentence. It seeps in over decades, slow as maple sap. Tommy was my miracle baby, born blue and silent after 20 hours of labor. The doctor said he might not cry, might not breathe. But I held him to my chest, skin to skin, whispering, "You fight, little man. Mommy's right here." And he did. Pink flooded his cheeks, and the wail that tore from his throat was the sweetest music I'd ever heard. I sold my wedding ring that year to pay the hospital bills. George, my husband, God rest him, was between jobs again. The diamond was small, but it bought incubators and hope. Years blurred. I worked doubles at the diner, apron stained with grease and coffee, coming home to spelling tests and science fairs. Sarah entered the picture senior year of college. Pretty, sharp, with a laugh like wind chimes. I loved her instantly, taught her my gravy recipe, hemmed her wedding dress when the boutique charged triple. "You're the mom I always wanted," she'd said, hugging me tight. I glowed. When the grandchildren came, Lily with my eyes, Jack with Tommy's stubborn chin, I babysat for free, canceled my own doctor appointments to pick them up from preschool. My arthritis flared, but I'd rock them on the porch swing, singing that same old hymn until the pain dulled. Money slipped through my fingers like water. College tuition, loans I co-signed. Down payment on their starter house, my retirement nest egg. The cruise they took to celebrate closing the deal, charged to the credit card in my name. "It's temporary, Mom. We'll pay you back. Tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. Instead came the sighs, the eye rolls when I asked about the grandkids' recitals. "We're swamped, Mom. Work's crazy." Sarah stopped calling on my birthday. Tommy's texts grew shorter. "Need the garage code again." I kept giving, because love, I thought, was an endless well, but wells run dry. It started with the little cuts. Sarah redecorated my living room without asking, tossed my crocheted Afghans into the attic, replaced them with gray velvet pillows that smelled of new money. "Outdated, Ellie, we're modernizing." Tommy agreed, scrolling his phone. Then the bigger ones. They stopped inviting me to Thanksgiving, too crowded with Sarah's family. Christmas morning, I sat alone with a turkey too big for one, carving slices I wrapped in foil for neighbors. The house echoed. I'd wander room to room, touching the wallpaper I'd hung when Tommy was 7, tracing the faint pencil marks on the doorframe. Tommy, age 5, age 8, age 12. Growth stopped there. So did hugs. The final blade fell on a Tuesday, ordinary as dishwater. I'd burned the roast, my hands shook from new medication, and Sarah wrinkled her nose. "Honestly, Ellie, maybe it's time for assisted living." "You're slipping," Tommy nodded. "She's right, Mom, we worry." And the house, it's too much for you. Sign the trust. We'll handle everything. Handle. Like I was a broken appliance. That night, the floorboards creaked under my slippers as I paced. The clock ticked louder than my heart. I opened the safe, combination Tommy's birthday, ironic now, and pulled out the folder. Inside, the deed solely in my name. George had insisted before he passed. Protect yourself, Ellie. Stock certificates from the diner's early days, now worth a quiet fortune. My will leaving everything to a women's shelter if my blood turned cold. And the letter I'd written years ago, sealed, addressed to Tommy. If you read this, I've failed you, or you've failed me. I cried then, silent tears soaking the collar of my nightgown. Not for the money, for the boy who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during thunderstorms, trusting the world because I was in it. Where had he gone? Morning came crisp, snow blanketing the garden like forgiveness I no longer offered. I called the lawyer, my lawyer, the one they didn't know about. Revoke the power of attorney. Effective immediately. Click. Then the bank. Freeze joint accounts. The locksmith arrived by noon. New deadbolts gleamed like teeth. I packed one suitcase, photo albums, my mother's Bible, the apple tree sapling in a pot. The rest, donated. Let them explain empty closets to the grandkids. They came at dusk, tires crunching salt on the driveway. Tommy's face, purple with rage, pressed against the window. Mom, open up! What the hell? Sarah behind him, clutching designer coat tight. I opened the door, just a crack, chain still latched. You changed the locks? Tommy sputtered. We own this place. No, I said, voice steady as the hymn I hadn't sung in months. I do, always did. You assumed. Like you assumed my love was a debit card? Sarah gasped. This is elder abuse. We'll sue. Sue away. I slid the revocation papers through the gap. Power of attorney? Gone, will updated. Everything goes to people who say thank you. Tommy's eyes filled. Real tears this time. Mom, please. We didn't mean, you meant every word. Useless, remember? I closed the door. Soft click, no slam. Dignity doesn't need noise. Silence settled like fresh snow. I brewed tea in my new apartment downtown. Sunrise view, no echoes. The apple sapling thrives on the balcony, leaves unfurling green and stubborn. Some mornings I walk the river path, wind whispering through my silver hair. Grandchildren? They'll find me when they're ready to apologize with actions, not words. Tommy calls sometimes, voicemail full of excuses. I delete them, not out of spite, out of space for peace. Listener, if you're wiping tears or clenching fists, know this. I didn't burn bridges. I simply stopped watering dead wood. The necklace George gave me, simple gold locket, rests warm against my skin now, holding a photo of baby Tommy. I kiss it nightly, forgiving the child, releasing the man. Sacrifice isn't martyrdom. It's seed planted in fertile ground. When the soil turns toxic, uproot. Bloom elsewhere. Your worth isn't measured in casseroles carried or checks signed. It's in the quiet morning you wake unafraid, coffee steaming, heart whole, the empty chair at my new table. It's for me. And it's enough.